Hi, so today I'm making another one of the baseboards that you may have seen me make. I've made a few of these now and made videos of them. This one is to go in the pink ring binder. That's the word I'm looking for. And I've just, you may have seen on some of my recent videos that I've been slicing out books to make lap books with. So I've been left with all the pages, all the innards, the pages of the books that and this happens to be a dictionary. So I thought I'd give it a try. I've never done this before for a baseboard, but it might work. So I've just literally taken some pages at random, ripped them up in a sort of rough manner, and I'm attaching them to this piece of card. It's not very thick card, but it is card. And then I've got no great expectations. It will either work or it won't. There's not a great deal lost if it doesn't work. Bit of time and a bit of glue, that's about your lot. But, you know, we'll give it a go. I think it will work or I wouldn't be doing it. But I'm just using Fusion decoupage gel, but you can use any PVA type glue that you fancy. There's no, even just PVA, anything. If you're using PVA, you probably need to water it down a little bit, because especially for these dictionary pages, because they're quite thin. I wouldn't describe them as fragile, but they're quite thin. So I'm just overlaying them just so as I don't get any white showing through from the background. But there's no right and wrong way to do this. You just carry on till you've got your background finished, all covered up. Then you're done. And then the fun begins. So this is kind of the drudgery bit before we get on to the decorating. So it's plain sailing. Doesn't really matter how far you overlap them. It's just really you want to get rid of that white card or whatever colour card you're using. You could do this on fairly thick paper. I just happen to have this white card. And that's as complicated as it gets, which, as you can see, is not complicated at all. Could do the thinnish sort of bit to go in there. And I have got another baseboard that I made yesterday. At the next stage, it's not a dictionary one, it's design paper and other papers on it, but we're ready to progress with it to the decorating phase, the start of the decorating phase anyway, because there are loads of layers that go on these. I hope I haven't included any naughty words here that you're picking out or that somebody's going to pick out in the future, but it is the Oxford Dictionary, so I can't believe they've put too many really naughty words in there. So there we go. Almost at the end. I tore the pages out and then I tore around them so we didn't have any straight edges on them, because I don't like that. It always sort of jars. I don't want that white piece there either. There's a little bit there that I'm going to have to come back to. I wonder if that would fit in there. Oh yes, look at that, made to measure. Is it, yeah. So I just need a little bit in there. Stick that on there, over the hole that I had. Oh, got another hole there for heaven's sake. Right, okay, so that's this stage of the baseboard complete. I'm just having a look around, make sure I haven't missed any bits. No, don't think so. So that's this complete. We now need to leave that to dry. And it's probably better if you leave it to dry of its own volition. See a little bit there sticking up. You will get bits that are sticking up, and you've got the opportunity the next time to stick them all down. So that's, yeah, ready to dry. Don't worry if you've got the odd wrinkle. Most of them will dry out, but it doesn't really matter if they don't. So hand that to Mr. Fix-It, and this is the board that I did yesterday. And my journal that I'm doing at the moment is pinks and greens and a little bit shabby. So I've put some old newspaper in it, some of the design papers, and it's looking quite nice, I think. But it's now time to move on. Just check that you've got everything stuck down. There's a bit there that is very resistant. I can't get it to stick down for love nor money. But apart from that, I think we're okay. So I'll put my decoupage gel away, as I haven't got room on the table for everything. So the next bit that we do is stamping. There's not a particular order to do this in. This is just the order I do it in. And I've got a stamping mat here to go under wherever I'm stamping. So I'll stamp this first, this piece up first, because it's under the stamping mat. The stamping mat is under it, not the other way around. And I've just got a text block here. It's one of those undecipherable text blocks that you get. I just like the effect of it, and I'm using Stays On in black, but you really, really don't have to. So far, no good. Let's just try another little area. Oh, you can hear how sticky this still is. Actually, for this one, I didn't use Fusion. I used, what did I use? I used matte medium. And you can hear just how sticky that is. Thank you. But it's doing the job. It's doing what we want it to do. Now I've got the stamp warmed up. I don't think you need to warm stamps up. Maybe a little bit. So it doesn't matter if you've got huge expanses of this text stamp or areas where there isn't any at all, because this is all going to be cut up. So they're not going to, you won't see it all as one piece. But keep turning your page anyway, because you don't want them all in the same plane. I'll use that bottom bit now. Ink it up probably for the last time. Use the bit that I didn't use on there. One more. Probably there. So then you need to get your other stamps out, whatever you're going to use. I haven't particularly sorted mine out. But I do think that I want to use this little twig which I found. I don't know what it is, like a little berry twig. I'm going to have to glue stick that on there. It doesn't want to stay on by itself. So put that on. And I've got some little butterflies here. Maybe put that on as well. You can use temporary spray adhesive if you've got that. That's what it was kind of made for, but I've got glue stick to hand. I'm actually just going to move that further up to there, and then I'll get this little butterfly in the bottom. I think it'll stamp okay, don't know. Time will tell us. You can use big stamps if you've got them, and in fact I have got some big stamps that I think I might use just to add a good bit of interest. Let's see what this looks like. We've all decided to stay on the paper. It's obviously quite sticky, that. Yeah, that looks nice though, doesn't it? See if I can fathom out where they were. I think they need a bit of a more glue stick on them to counteract that stickiness that's on the residue that's on the paper. But I quite like the effect. I quite like that look. It's nice. No, that needs to go the other way over. I'm going to have a butterfly flying upside down. Right, I think that'll probably do the trick, hold them okay. So you don't want loads of these. You know, you don't want them absolutely everywhere, and you don't want them all going the same way either. So I'll try another one here. Just tell how sticky that is, can't you? I think I might add another couple on. Because as I say, they're all going to be cut up, so you're not going to see these as one sort of finished entity. Oh, they came off. Brilliant. So one more maybe around this region. And then I'll have a look for my big flowers. There we are. So it's actually, even now, it's beginning to, you know, to get some interest. So I've got some massively large flowers somewhere. Thank you. I'll use this one. This one's quite interesting. I've got these ones here that were the ones sort of thinking of. I mean, they're huge. This one here is just enormous. But let's try this one. It's on a wooden block. We'll ink it up again with Stays On. It's quite a bold one, this, so it should stamp quite well. And it's on its own wooden block, so it's not going to pull off. Let's just plonk that right in the middle, see what happens. That's well the price on Save the Children. Yeah, it's a nice stamp. I don't want to confuse the issue too much with too many stamps, because we've still got quite a bit of other decoration to do on it. I need one up here somewhere. Here, why not? Yeah, so they're coming out quite nicely, those ones. I might just go back to my text one and add some more text to it. I love text, I really, really do. It makes a lovely background. Yikes. Yeah, I'm happy to say that's us done with the stamping. I think the thing that's standing out the most is that the butterfly and this flower. Maybe that leaf's standing out as well, actually. Yeah, I quite like that leaf. I might just do that on its own in various places. Take the butterfly stamps off and just ink up this single leaf thing, leaf shape. I'm just wondering if I could get away with stamping that with the distress ink that I've used for the rest of the book. I've used a distress ink called Worn Lipstick, which is a really, really pink. Oh, I really love that leaf. It's gorgeous. It's really adding something. It's adding a leaf, for heaven's sake. Yeah, I'm liking this. It's not that I don't like the butterflies, just I'm not the hugest fan of butterflies, I must be honest. Right, now we've got an overall theme going. Nice. Nice. I'm just going to do a few more of them around the place. Keep changing the angle because I don't know where I'm going to be cutting this afterwards to make my tags and journaling cards, etc, etc. I don't know, I think that's possibly about it really. Don't think I need any more. But I am going to try it in that pink colour that I was telling you about. So I put the lid on my black stays on and get this distress ink out. I'm going to try it on a piece of paper first. Let's see if it works. Where's my leaf gone? Here it is. Oh, I'm just going to glue that on again. So let's see if we can get a pink leaf. Not saying we can, not saying we can't, but it's got to be worth a try. Well, that'll do me. That's brilliant. So let's do the rounds again then, but with a pink one. Doesn't show up so well on there. But enough, I think. Enough to enough to think it's worth doing. Just not enough to add loads. That'll do with that, I think. It's not a huge success, but they are on there. So that's fine. So it stays on, etc. Distress ink. They dry, you know, almost instantly. So we don't have to worry about them anymore. They're dry. It's funny when you look at it from different angles, how different it looks. However, right, so the next thing that we are going to do is stencil. So I'll get my stencils out, have a look and see what we want to use. Basically, I think we want background texture stencils. So that's a good one to use. That very nice flower there, I might use that. If I'm using one flower, I don't really want to use another. That's a little fairy. Don't really want her. Oh, we've got that. I've never used that one before. Let's give that a go. It's quite a lot of background stencils I have. Background stencils I have. That Harlequin one. There's butterflies there. I wonder if I should use those because I used... Yeah, I think I will. And this fan one, which is lovely. That's surely got to be enough. Surely. We just keep checking, just in case I've missed the one. Nope, I think we're all right with that. Pop them back in there. Right, so to do the stenciling, I've got these, actually the fabric paints, but it doesn't matter, they're acrylic paints, and they came in a set, but I think you can probably buy them separately, and they're called Lumiere by Jacquard. Let's see, can you see that? Lumiere by Jacquard, and I've got pewter, halo blue gold, pearlescent magenta, halo pink gold, sunset gold, and a sort of purple and a turquoise. So choices are, I might use gold actually. I might just go for gold. So I'm just going to put a bit out on my paper plate. Use a saucer, use what you've got. You do get through a fair bit of paint doing this, to be fair. And I'm going to start off with the one that I haven't used yet, ever. It's actually a quilting stencil, but that doesn't really make much difference. And I'm going to use Dauber. These ones haven't been washed, so they're a bit hard. I've kind of wrecked them. But I'll use, this one feels like it's got maybe a bit of life in it. So I'll give that a go. So load your, whatever, your applicator, whatever applicator you're using. Load it up, but you know the rules with stenciling. Less is more. Let's give this a try, see what happens. I don't know if it's pushing through. I don't think it's... No, I think it's a bit... Yeah, it's too hard, that one. It's not allowing me to stencil. So we'll try this one then. So you don't want a definite shape, you don't want to do a square. Well, I don't. You might want to. Just sort of bits of it here and there, like that. I hope my sponge softens up soon. Or I might have to jettison it and get a new bit of sponge. Yeah, I think I'm going to have to ditch that one and just get a bit of household spongy sponge and use that. Yeah, that's better. Yeah, okay. So maybe just one more bit of gold up here at the top while I've still got some on my palette. Right, so that's quite iridescent. Not sure you're picking it up, but it's working quite well. Let's use this. Let's use the Harlequin. I love the Harlequin one. It's probably my favourite actually of all. And this colour here is pearlescent magenta, and I can feel that there really isn't very much left in it at all. So I'm going to have to just use whatever there is. No, I don't think there's... Oh, well, a little bit. Yay, come on. That's like tomato sauce bottle, isn't it? Or in this house it's HP actually. Mr. Fix-It's a great HP fiend. There we are. I don't think I can get any more out of that. Been good knowing you, mate. Did good service. Right. So let's see where we can add this then. I'm just going to use this sponge. It's still got gold on it. I'm not fussed about that. You know, if it mixes, it mixes. Just add to the interest of the thing. So, you know, you don't need it on really thick. You just need that sheen that it gives. So you can get away with sort of swirling it really rather more than pouncing it, just to get that nice sheen. Yeah, that's lovely. It's not too in your face. We'll move around a little bit. Which side was that side? So I'm just swirling this, and it will give me enough without it being too overt. Yeah, that's nice. Let's have a little bit coming off the edge. So you see how it changes? It just keeps changing. The more you add to it, the more it changes. Until eventually all those bits that you were agonising over, your little bits of paper, oh, should I put it here or should I put it there? It actually doesn't, you can't see it anyway. So it doesn't really matter where you put your bits of paper. That's looking nice. Bear in mind that this is going to be cut up, so if you want some continuity between your pieces, between what's ultimately going to be your tags and your journaling cards, you need to put this in quite a few places, so no matter where you cut it, they're all going to have the same sort of thing in them. Now that's beginning to look quite nice. I don't know if you can see the sheen on the paint there. A little bit maybe, yeah. So now I'm going to move on to this big flower that I haven't... I'm going to do some butterflies. That's what I'm going to do. Not all of them. Just going to use these bottom four, which by the looks of it looks like that's the decision I came to the last time. Just to use these bottom little four here. Now you're adding a bit of directionality here because they're going that way, so we don't want to be using too many of these. Right, I think that'll do for them, and I'm going to move on to this really lovely stylized flower. Now I've run out of that, but I'm wondering if I mixed it with a bit of this halo pink gold, it would give me a different colour, but it would still be in the pink family, is what I'm thinking. It's going to be more goldy. Still got pink on my, so I'll sort of mix that together on my sponge and see what colour we come with. I think it is like a pink gold, which is fine. Right, so where can we put this that hasn't been? Let's put it here. So I'm just going to do the same thing. I'm just going to not pounce on it, just kind of wipe it really, which will give us the flower, but without that heavy definition. Let's have a look. Let's have a little look-see. Oh yeah, it's looking lovely. Yeah, that's nice. I think I like the flower perhaps and just that leaf. I might go with just that next time. So I'll try that in here. So let's get the flower on. I'm just going to aim for that leaf. I'm probably going to catch other bits, but it's fine. Maybe a little bit more definition. Oh, look at that, it's so pretty. That's so pretty. Need something up in here, I think. I'm going to put another flower because they're going to be on separate things, you know, different tags or whatever. Let's gather every little last bit of paint up that we can. We don't want to be wasting it. Right, so there we are. Okay, so I think we're probably finished with that for this stage of proceedings, and if the dictionary's dry, then we'll go back to that and do the stamping and the stenciling and whatever. But that's looking nice. It's got a lot of sheen to it. I hope it's picking it up. It's pretty. It's really pretty. So let's have a look. Thank you. My glamorous assistant, Mr. Fix-It. I think I'll just give that a couple of minutes actually. It's dry to the touch, but I know that if I started putting stamps on, it's going to start pulling bits off. So join me when that's dry, which will be for you 1 second. And I'm just going to cut off these straggly bits around the side. So I'll see you in a sec. Okay, so here's our dictionary page collage dry, neatened up round the edges. And as you know, I've just run out of my pearlescent magenta, which is quite gutting. But I've just had a search through everywhere and I found this System 3 acrylic in metallic red, and I've had a look at it and it looks like pink to me. That's it there, which looks pretty pink. So I'm going to go for that. And I'm just going to sponge it a little bit. So we didn't do this on the last one. It didn't need it because it had a background. But I'm just going to, not much, but just a little bit of sponging. Just introduce some colour into it. I'm sure you all know how to sponge. I don't want too much colour on here, just want to break up some of that background. I'll be adding more colour with other things further down the line. I mean, I might even use this acrylic further down the line. I don't know yet, I'm just doing what takes my fancy. That's just knocking the sort of bareness of the dictionary pages back a little bit and introducing the colour that we want. As I said to you before, I've never used just dictionary pages or just pages of any sort. I usually use some of the design papers that I've been using in my journal. It doesn't matter if you get bits that are heavier and bits that are lighter. That's kind of the effect that you're aiming for anyway. Just taking the starkness off it, that's all. So I can push down heavier in some places, just pat it on others. And there we are. That's just a kind of all over bit of pink. Right, so now we can stamp on it. Now we've got that done in the background. So I have this huge stamp. I mean, it really is huge. Excuse me, I'm just going to have a drink. Thank you very much. I don't know what it's going to look like. It's all an experiment anyway. So bearing in mind that we're going to be chopping these up to make tags and journaling cards and whatever, it seems like a good place to experiment to me, because if it goes wrong, I just won't use that particular part of the of this. I don't think I've ever used this. I've used it to stamp it out to see what it was, but I've never used it in a project before. I think I need to get probably my stamping mat out. I'm going to need all the help I can get with this one, I think. Right, here goes. Let's see what it looks like. Well, that's pretty anticlimactic. It hasn't really come out at all. So we'll put that to the side and count that as a didn't work. And go back to this flower stamp that we have used in the past and we know works well. It isn't working well either today. Okay, it's not a day for stamping. Blimey, how strong do you have to be to stamp? I'm not overly convinced about these in black, to be honest. I think we're just adding to the dictionary paper. Maybe we'll try it in the distress ink, in the pink distress ink. See what happens there. This is probably going to come out a funny mix of pink and black because I haven't cleaned my stamp. Oh, great, you can't even see that one. Well, I think we're going to have to give up on the stamping. It's not doing it. It's just not doing it. No, that's not showing either because we've sponged the background, so it's got some pink on it, so it's now not showing the stamp. So fair enough, we've tried, didn't work. That's kind of what crafting's all about. So I'm going to move on now to stenciling. I'm so tempted by that twig. No, oh yeah, I'm too tempted by it. I'm going to have to give it a go. That stands out nicely, doesn't it? Maybe it was my stamping board that wasn't helping. I don't know. It's really nice. Got this one in my head now, and nothing's going to be as nice as this one now. So if you've got one that you really like, feel free to crack on with it. Stamp it as many times or as few times as you want. It's yours after all. And you want to be the one that's happy with your cards, your journaling cards and tags, etc. at the end. Put that one there. I think we've probably about reached saturation, have we, with this? There we are. So I'm just now thinking that I'll put some butterflies on now that we've found something that works. I think that's going to stay on. If not, I'll put some more blue glue on it. It's a bit more glue. But it is working. We are getting, it's making a mark. Can you do that? Assume that you can. Well, this is turning out quite nicely. Okay, so that's enough. Stop. Just plenty enough. Right, so now we can move on to the stencils. And as I say, I've got this pink that I like, and I've also got some of this, which is metallic gilding polish. And it's gorgeous. It's Cosmic Shimmer, and it's really, really, really shimmery. So I might put my Harlequin pattern on with that. I'm trying to remember how you use this now. No, obviously not like that. That. Mr. Fix-It.
Yep.
I can't get into this. I'm not sure I've ever really used it, to be honest. Have I ever used it? No, not really. Lovely, thank you. Yeah, this is it. It's absolutely glorious. So we'll give that a go. See, it comes with a little applicator in the top part. That's not supposed to be such a trauma to actually get out. And you just load your applicator up like that. It doesn't want to load, for heaven's sake. I have had this for a long time. Maybe it's just finally given up the ghost. I don't know. No, I think that's it loaded now. So just go over a small area, this bottom corner, which could end up being the top corner. Who knows? I don't want to go over all the lovely stamping that we did. You can't see the shimmer yet, but I'll show you when I've done a bit more. It's really, really, really shimmery. See if I can hold that up for you. Yeah, just about say it's shimmery. So we'll continue with this. Just little bits here and there, just to spread the continuity. Not really adding any colour, which we need to think about. So we probably could do with adding a bit of colour. So there we are, that's a bit of sheen anyway. That needs washing in soapy water. Don't let it dry or you'll ruin your applicator. Right, so we've got some sheen, some sparkle, some stamping. So now it's time to, thank you so much, to start, stenciling proper, as it were. So we've used the Harlequin. I've got these butterflies, which might go with it. I've also got this, which is quite pretty. I quite like that. So I'm going to use my household sponge with some of the paint that we used for the sponging in the first instance. And just I don't know how successful that is actually. Oh, might be okay. Oh yeah, it's lovely. It's really lovely. So being random isn't easy, is it? It's much more easy following a pattern. Oh, that's nice. That is nice. A bit more paint, which is fine because I put plenty out. I'm not sure where I was going there. Was that it? Some up here, definitely. Maybe some centrally, perhaps. So, that's very much. maybe just the slightest hint in this corner. Okay, right, so if we're not careful, this is just going to end up pink. And what I'd really like is some green in there, to be honest with you, because I have introduced green into my journal. So let's see if I can find some green acrylic. Here we go. I've got a very, very bright green. Got that green. That's quite nice. Quite like that. What else have I got? Oh yeah, I've got that one. The Kryler one. Yeah, I think that's probably the one to go for. It's very thick. Kryler paint is very thick paint. Very heavy bodied. So let's have a go with that, see where we get to. Look at it. I mean, it's delicious. You could eat this stuff, to be honest. No, don't. Do not eat paint. Don't eat paint. But it is gorgeous. It's gorgeous stuff. I'm going to use this background one. And I might have to turn my sponge over, actually. Because if I use red and green together, give you brown. And that's not what I'm after. So let's turn my sponge around. You can see, look at that. Look how thick and unctuous that is. So let's go for a bit of this in here. Oh, yes. Oh, that's nice, isn't it? That is really nice. Now you can add all sorts of things to this. Don't be constrained by the things I'm doing, because that's a long way off everything that you can add. You can splatter it, you can put modelling paste on it, you can, whatever you can conceive of, you can stamp it with a potato if you want to. You can do whatever you wish, just to give yourself a really nice, interesting background to the tags and stuff that we're going to be making. This green has added more than just a green, if you know what I mean. It's really, it's lovely. It's so lovely. And a bit down here. Right, so now I need something probably to support that green. Maybe the butterflies. They're a definite thing. They definitely are. They're a definite thing. So yeah, I'll go up here and put some butterflies in. I might just need to change slightly the hue of that green, otherwise it's just going to be one green that we see all the way through, which is not what I'm after. I've got that one, pale olive, or this, I think maybe this one. Oh, I don't know. Is that the same? Basically the same colour. Let's have a look. Oh, I obviously like it because there's not much left. It's ostensibly that colour we've just been using, the Kryler one. So I'll put some of this Liquitex really light. I don't know what it's called. Brilliant yellow green. Yeah, let's go for that. Ah, yeah. The pink maybe, yeah. Mr. Fix-It's come up with some, well, it's furniture paint and paint really, but you know, you can use anything. These tags aren't going to have the hardest life in the world, are they? You know, they're not going to be kicked around. Hopefully they're not anyway. So let's carry on with these butterflies. With a slightly different hue. It's not that slightly different, is it? It's pretty much the same. Ooh, Mr. Fix-It's just found some magenta. Marvellous. Thank you. I'll have that right now. Right, so this is, it's Valspar, inspired by Pantone. Pantone colours 18/2133, and it's pink flambe. So, yeah, that's maybe what we need. Let's have a bit of pink flambe in our lives, shall we? So I'm just going to use what's in the lid. And I'm going back to this flower that we used on the other one. Clean piece of sponge. And it doesn't matter if you're going to go over bits that you've already done. You're just adding depth now. So that's fine. Might want to get yourself a smaller piece of sponge. It's difficult stenciling when it... Oh yeah, look at that. It's made such a huge difference. Let's put one over here. Oh, probably got enough on there actually. Like I say, it's just bathroom sponge. You can use a stenciling brush if you fancy getting posh. You don't really need to, but you can, of course. Oh, they are gorgeous, aren't they? They're really adding something. Our dictionary pages are receding further and further back. Let's put this on top of that green bit. Oh, look, it's lovely. It's really lovely. See, that adds interest because we've got two pinks now, which is why I need to introduce another green as it starts to get a bit flat. So you have to think about the colour that you're using in your journal and try and incorporate it somehow. I mean, I'm using that sort of shabby green colour, so really this bright citrus doesn't have a proper place. I just put it in because I like it. There we go, probably got enough flowers now, but I can't stop. I can't stop. So just a tiny weeny little bit. I used to use this Valspar when we were painting furniture back in those days, and I must say we found it to be very good paint. You know, I was a fusion stockist actually, so I know how good fusion is, but Valspar, yeah, punched above its weight, I thought. Right, I'm going over this stencil with another stencil. I'm going to use the butterflies, just arriving in here from the bottom over the page. Yeah, we're really getting some interest going now. It takes time. It just, you know, each layer just takes time. Oh, there's a big butterfly there. Might as well put them in. Actually, just put them all in. There we are. That's a good colour. Mr. Fix-It's just, I think it's fence painting paint it's just found. But any paint, anything is great for what we are doing. So let's have a try with that then. Might be nearer the colour of my shabby chic. I'll show you in a minute what I'm talking about. It's kind of this sort of colour, which you can see is quite a way off the green that I have been using. It's a real grey muted green, and I think Mr. Fix-It might have just found that. It's called Misty Meadow, and it is indeed fence painting paint, and I think that will serve us perfectly. So what am I going to stencil on? Shall I do some more harlequins? Yeah, okay, let's do some there and see what happens. It's kind of a bluey green. It might not look good compared to the green we already have on, but we'll see. It's a much thinner paint. Well, I don't think it's bad. I'll just crack on with it. Just stuck my finger in it now. And I'm going to do some splatters, some quite big splatters of paint as well. I wish this was just a little bit thicker. But you know, beggars can't be choosers. It's quite blue as well, isn't it, when you see it next to the green? A little bit in there, maybe. Both sides are now wet. Don't know how I managed that. Okay, right, I'm going to stop it there for a moment, let that dry, give me a chance to clean up both myself and this paint plate. My stencils are all sticky on every which side, so they need a bit of a wash off, and I'll be back here in a sec. You won't even notice I've gone. Right, everything's dry. This is the dictionary collage that we did. Everything's dry on that, and this is the other collage that I'd done that you watched me decorate, and that's all dry, and it's very shimmery and shiny and lovely. And what I'm going to do to unify the two of them is to use a paint to just splatter everywhere. And what I've chosen to use is that paint that we had earlier, this one, the garden fence paint, and I mixed it through some iridescent silver acrylic paint. So I'm not sure if I'm going to get any of that iridescence through or not, but I like that colour, and I want to use quite a bit of it in splatter form just to knock this back a little bit. So let's hope that it's going to work and be nice and splattery for us. So I'm just going to bang my brush. I don't know if that's quite... I don't know if that's actually doing what we want it to do, really. No, I think I might have to mix some grey or something into that. Right, I have scoured the house, both me and Mr. Fix-It, and we've found a fusion mineral paint colour called Brook, which is this colour here, and I think that is just the job. Time will tell, but I'm quite happy with it. So I'm just going to pick quite a bit up on my brush, because I don't care how large the splatters are. And I just want to introduce this colour. If you want to make yours brighter, you know, introduce a purple or a turquoise or something nice and bright. I'm trying to knock this back a little bit, so I'm using something quite muted. It's in keeping with the other pages of my journal. Whoa! It couldn't stand the pressure. Oh dear. Might be alright. I'll give it another try. If it decides to jump off again, I'll have to go and get a new brush. I'll just turn that around because all my splatters are going in one way. I'm a bit scared now to do this because it's coming off. Oh, Mr. Fix It with the duct tape. That's what's needed. I'm quite pleased with how it's turning out though. It's sort of unifying it and knocking it back a bit, which is good. Thank you. So lots of paint on here. I don't care if I get big blotches of it. Right, that'll do for that for the time being, but I might come back to that with a different colour, maybe white. But I'm pleased with how that's looking at the moment. So on to this one. Do you want me to lift that up? You can see that where the splatters are. Oh, that's nice. That's very nice. Right, so let's move on to this one. That has already got this colour in it, so it's going to take quite nicely, I think. Maybe a bit more water on my brush. Turn it round. If you live in the sunshine, I recommend that you do this outside because the splatters do get everywhere. My glasses are now very splattery. Oh, there's some nice splatters going on there when you add water. Okay, I might be about there with that, I think. I do like that. I like it a lot. Let's just add a little bit of water. And go for it. Oh, look at them, they're gorgeous. Right, there we are. That's definitely it, otherwise we're going to lose our background. So, some lovely passages in there. Yeah. So now what I need to decide is, am I going to put any more splatters on of a different colour? Could do. So possible. I don't know, I might try white. You know, if it works, that's great. If it doesn't work, I'll just stop where I am. I've moved all my paints around in case you're wondering why I don't know where my paints are. So just pop some of this white out and give it a go. You know, nothing ventured, nothing gained. I'll show you how long it is since I've been painting. No, going to use white. Mr. Fix-It's just come in with a, can you open that for me, please? With a Fusion Metallics in pearl. It's gorgeous. That would have been lovely for the stenciling part. I must bear that in mind, actually. Remember that. So we'll have a go at this. I've just got a little corner there coming adrift. Sometimes you do have to do these little running repairs as your stuff dries out. You see little bits that aren't stuck down. But, you know, this glue stick does the job. Just you don't really want them sticking up if you can help it. I think that's it. Thank you very much. Get the lid on that. Get the lid off this. Oh, it's off. So there we are, some white paint. I'm just going to use the same brush. Might be a bit of residual green in there. I'm not fussed particularly. No, I don't think there is. It looks fairly white. So I've got some splattery paint on there. Let's see what happens. Where's my stick? Yeah. Nice. Yeah, you need it quite fluid, is what I'm finding. Yeah, I like that. I don't really think that needs much more. I'll have a go at the other one. And then what I'm going to do, once I get these splattered, and I'm happy with them, because you can go back any time. Oh, look at that. This one, I think, has been more successful at this stage than the dictionary pages. It might not be when they're finished, I don't know, but at the moment I'm more happy with this. There we are. I think that's about it. That is phenomenal. Phenomenal. Look at that. Isn't that yummy? It's gorgeous. Gorgeous. Right. So I'm going to leave that to dry. Then I'm going to have a good look at it and make sure that it has actually got, oh, for pity's sake, actually got everything on it that I want. If not, I can do some more stenciling, I can do some more stamping, I can do anything I want to it. You know, it's a background. So when this dries, if the splatter is just taken over, then I can come back in and do some more stenciling. You know, might be that I want some more of this Harlequin. I don't know. I'm quite happy with it as it stands at the moment, I must say. But let's leave them to dry. And when they're dry completely, then you can either scan them into your copier or take a photograph and print it out. That way, you have my permission to use these. They are free to use by anyone at all who wants to use them. I'd love to see what you do with them, but you don't have to share them. I can't stop this. I'm addicted. I'm addicted. If you do use these, and like I say, you're free to use them, but will you please credit me? This brush seems determined to want to fall over. Yeah, just credit me. Just say they belong to Miss Painter or they belong to Fiona Mitchell Stanyard, and you have permission to use them. So there we go. So, oh look, you can see that lovely sheen on there when I move it. It's gorgeous. Right, so let's leave them there and I'll join you again when they're dry and I've got a photocopy of them. See you soon. Okay, so here's the one with the bright green on that we splattered them both, but it's pretty dry. I've taken a photograph of it and printed that out, which is this. So you can see it's a fairly faithful copy. And what this shows up, to me anyway, is that this green is a bit vibrant for our needs. This is where I want it to go. Having said that, I do have another set of paper somewhere that has a much more vibrant green in that this would go with. This is the book that I want to use some papers out of. So you see, it's pretty good for those ones, actually. You know, that's a nice match, I think. So I don't know. Maybe I don't think I will knock it back. Having seen that with it, I'm quite happy with it. If you want to knock yours back, do so. And if it all goes horribly wrong, don't worry, because you can just print this out again. That's the joy of having it printed out again. Right, so what we're going to do now, this is the other one that I did, which is this one here. Once again, photographed and printed out. I printed mine out onto A3. That's because I have an A3 printer. I mean, obviously, you know, if you haven't printed out on A4, you're not going to lose anything. Print it out twice on A4 and you've got the same as I've got on A3. So, but these are my two photocopied images that I am going to be using now to make into some tags. Right, I showed you this a little bit earlier, a couple of minutes ago. This is one of the pages for my ring-bound journal. And I made that yesterday. It's fine. It's going to get stuck in like that. It's got these two really cute little journals in them, which I like a lot. But what I need for it are some little tags to go in the front. And I'm going to make them out of this. So what dimensions do I need? I need them to be about 2.5 inches long by probably about 2.5 inches wide. So I'll make that 2.5 inches square. So let's do that. Let's cut these out. So just get to my ruler. And I'm going to cut it out of this end because it just looks a bit more exciting to me. So what did I say? 2.5 inches square. Thank goodness you were listening to me, because I wasn't. Right, so there's 2.5. I don't know if the paper isn't square by the looks of it, so I'll have to square it up in a minute. It's not far out actually, but not quite square. So I'll cut a square out that's longer than 2.5. I mean, now you've got this baseboard, you can keep printing out ad infinitum, you know, can't you? And do what you like to it. Add bits to it. Take bits away by adding gesso to it. 2.5 doesn't look very much. That can't be right. No, it is. I'm not doing that then. I'm going to make them 3. 3 by 2.5. So I'll cut that off there at 2.5 where I know it's square. Ooh, isn't that a horrible noise on a glass cutting board? Right, so now I've got that's 2.5, so I just need to cut off 3.5 inch segments and I'll have some tags. That looks like sex to me, that bit there. Maybe I should blot that out. Oh, honest to goodness, my memory. Yeah, it's changed it. 3 it is. 3's what I need. 3 by 2.5. Excellent. We're away. It's bad enough remembering this normal times, but when you're speaking as well, it's like impossible. Right, so that's one tag. Two tags. So I think we're going to get our 3 out of here, which would be great. Which is what I need for my little tags on the front of my journal. Right, so somewhere I have a template for the corners. Okay, I've failed to find my template, but I made a new one. It's literally a piece of paper with a corner cut off, and all that assures is that each of your corners on your tags is going to be identical. Saves you the heartache of having to measure each one. So you just straighten it up. And cut your corners off. And then you've got a nice tag. So let's just try that in where we want it to go. Oh yeah, that's amazingly lovely. I love it. Worth all the grief when you, just for that moment. I'm chopping this butterfly up. But this is what I told you would happen when we were stamping and stenciling and whatever. By the time you've got it chopped up, most of this stuff is totally unrecognisable for what it was. Right, so there's our 3 tags with our corners chopped off. And what I would recommend that you do now is to stick these onto coffee stained paper and sew around them, because this is your best chance to get around them. Let's see if I can find. I think that'll be fine. So just take a piece of the paper that you're using to glue onto, and ordinary glue stick I find is absolutely perfect for this. You don't need to use anything fancier, and it's going to be stitched around anyway, so you know, it'll be fine. Place them onto there, turn it over, and give them a good flatten with your bone folder. And the same with the other 2, obviously. I was pulling that paper as I stick this down because it's a little bit wrinkled, so if I pull it, hopefully get rid of all the wrinkles in it. Let's switch my machine on. So we're ready to go. Here's the reverse of that. So they're beginning to look completely different, aren't they? To unimaginably different, actually, to when we first started with just sticking bits of paper, you know, as a collage onto a bit of card. hard to imagine that they'd look quite this pretty. So chop those out and sew around them, and I'll be back with you very soon. Right, okay, so we've got our 3 little tags, and I've sewn around them. Where are we? There we are. I've zigzagged all around them, backed them all, as you saw, with that coffee stained copy paper, and they're thick enough. I mean, if you want thicker tags than that, print it out onto card, thicker card, or use thicker coffee stained paper, and then you'll get a much thicker. I think this is absolutely fine. I see nothing wrong with that. So now then, for my next trick, I'm going to be using these. They are Jane Davenport colour sticks, and this set is called Soul Window. She uses very flowery titles. So I've got a few sets of these, but actually this one has got the colour in that I want, which is this pink, and it's called Pout. Oh dear. Right, so I'm going to get myself ready here with a wet wipe, which I find spreads the colour out quite nicely. You can use water, brush and water on it if you want to, but I find that it's a little bit more harsh. So these are wonderful things. They're just full of pigment, and hopefully they're going to finish our tags off nicely. So just go all the way around, depositing pigment as you go. I'll go around all of them. It is amazing how these have turned out now compared to what they looked like when we were making them. They just didn't look so pretty, but they look pretty now. You could do this before you sew, actually, might be an idea. You'd probably get a smoother colour on the edge, but I think we're all right. So that's them all the way around. And just get your wet wipe on your finger, like your granny used to do with her hanky when she was cleaning your face. And just smudge that into the middle, or towards the middle, should I say. I'm not going all the way to the middle. I definitely think this would be better done before you sew, because the pigment's getting caught up on the stitching. Although it does actually accentuate the stitching, so that's a plus point. So there we are, that's one done. Doesn't it look lovely? Same thing, just keep going with all 3. I find if you do this with water and a brush, you get a very definite sort of mark. You get a definite line, should I say, where the water has stopped. Whereas with a wet wipe, it just sort of fades away. Actually, I do like the way it's bringing out the stitching. It makes it look really bright. So what could have been a bit of a faux pas has turned out to being good. Don't know what's going wrong there. That sort of thing never usually happens to me. So there we are. And once that's dried, it will be fast. It's not going anywhere. So there we are. Right then. What I'm going to do now is punch a hole in them, because they are tags and they need a little bit of ribbon in them. And I have a choice here. This is what's called a lanyard punch, and you'll see when you punch a hole with it, you get this shape, which is really easy for threading ribbon through. This is your common or garden, a circular hole. like so. So what sort of ribbon am I going to use? Well, I've got some gingham. Oh, I've got that nice pale pink. That might be quite nice with this. So do I need the lanyard hole? No, it's a bit wide for that actually. So I'll just use the round hole punch and we'll just eye it up. This is a wonderful punch. It cuts every time, but it doesn't eject the bits of paper that it cuts out, which annoys me slightly. So we'll just see where we need to be with that. Just eyeball it. Like so. Come on. It's a nice afternoon here and people are cutting their lawns, as you might be able to tell, to hear. I thought it was an aeroplane at first. I don't blame you, no. There's no aeroplanes in the sky at the moment, is there? Or very few, should I say. So let's put our ribbon through, see what they look like. Just need to leave a little tag. They're only little tags these, so they don't need much. Cut the ribbon at an angle and it saves it fraying on you. And I'm just going to take these to the sewing machine and just put one stitch in them just to hold them. You can glue them if you want to. I never have much success gluing these actually. I always end up with the glue showing through the ribbon and I don't like that, so I just generally put one stitch in them and it keeps them where they should be. And I'm obviously going to do that to the other two as well, but you don't need to watch me do that. And then I'm probably going to use some liquid pearls because why ever not? But I'll just show you what they look like in what's going to be their new home. So they're going to be in the front there, like that. And the liquid pearls that I put in will match these ones that are everywhere else. And they'll have the little ribbons. So there's another page for my junk journal. It's got this lovely snippet roll here, really pretty, and a stamp, which was a giveaway by somebody, and I wish I could remember who it was. You can just zoom in just a little bit so they can see what I'm talking about. There we are. Now you can see what I'm on about. So this is a stamp. It was part of a giveaway, and really I do wish I could remember so I could thank the woman I did at the time. And it's got these two journals at the back, and they've also got stamps on, so it all ties together quite nicely, and ribbon and lace and whatever. And it's I've backed this part with coffee stained paper, zigzagged all the way around it, and then I've just sewn a leaflet of papers in there so as you can journal on them, because after all that is what this is, it's a journal. I want to be able to journal on them. So those two together are just slightly wider than the back panel, so they do have to go in at an angle, which is how they were designed to go in. Otherwise they'd go straight in and they don't look so nice. The three tags that we've just done, which are looking splendid, and there you go. That's now, it needs these two bits of ribbon in, it's ready to rock and roll. And I think that's a very pretty little page, and I think we've done really well today to achieve these. I think we've done smashing, a smashing job. I'll just show you the other bits of this journal. This is another page. I'll move that out of the way because you can't see properly. This is another page, got a big corner tuck pocket on here, a ribbon rose. Here's another notebook with lots and lots and lots of pages in that one. And that tucks in nicely into there. Ribbon, lace, bling, opens up into this, which is a pretty page, I think. It's got some journaling cards in there, some ribbon with some bling on, this little Eiffel Tower with some liquid pearls, and then it's got this pocket which has got this long journaling card on it, this pocket which has got this little boy blue, some ribbon flower, paper flowers, liquid pearls like they're going out of fashion, lace, ribbon, and this big journaling card there, in case you didn't have enough journaling space, because that would never do. And I've left a longish tag on there just so you can see it and you know there is actually something inside. So that's that page. And then the other page that I've done is this one, which was a bit of a labour of love, to be honest. So this is the front of it. How fancy is that? It's so fancy, it's gorgeous. It's really pretty. But there's room in a ring-bound journal. You know, there's more room than you would get in an ordinary journal. So this flips out, and we've got that. We've got two pockets there that could probably use some of these little tags that we've made today in there. They'd go nicely. And if that one doesn't fit, which it doesn't, then we can cut one from our baseboard that fits perfectly. This is a little corner tuck. It's got a little envelope in, which I'll pop some paper in, and that sits nicely in there. Then it folds out again. We've got these two pockets here, which are waiting for some tags made from our baseboard to go in. Our fairy girl, I painted some toadstools outside her front door, so she looks happier to see her toadstools. And then if you flip it the other way, you've got this corner pocket here with this pearl on, ribbons, lace, lovely little flower sort of arrangement there with some pearls, a nice card in there. And then this, which opens up, and it's got this that border across the top of the pocket, and then it's got some writing paper in, which I made on an earlier video actually. It's just it's Filofax paper actually, and I've just gessoed it and stenciled it and watercoloured it, blah blah, and it fits in there very nicely. So that's that, and it shuts up like so, and then it flips out again, and we've got this arrangement with the pockets, which is the same angle as this. I've used the same angle, but I've kept it within the confines of this pocket. So it's just got, I mean, I'm not saying that these are the ones that are going to stay in here. I just put them in just so I could have a look really. So that's that. Then we've got this one, which is this angle cut pocket with some journaling cards in. It's nice that, I like that. And that's it, I think. I think we're at the front again. So there we are. That folds, 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 like so. So that's one page. That's, well, that's the front of one page. That's another page. Here's another one. So I'm collecting them. I'm getting on with them. And what happens when they're finished, like this one, it can get stuck onto its board, which attaches to the rings, thus making it a ring-bound journal. So it'll be like that. Mr. Fix-It has very kindly gone over this grey board, so we didn't have a grey border at the side, because that would have been irksome, I think. So they will get stuck on there. They're 1/8 of an inch all the way around, smaller than the piece of card, so you will just see the border around, which I think will look pretty, and will finish it off nicely. And then on the back of that, it will be something like this. I mean, it might even be this, I don't know yet. and that'll go on there. And once again, you'll see the border that Mr. Fix-It's put on. So we're progressing. You know, there's a lot of work gone into this, as I'm sure you'll appreciate. And I'm an old lady. Have mercy. Okay, guys. Well, thank you very much for joining me. My usual lives on YouTube are Saturday and Sunday at 2 o'clock UK time. If you like what you saw and want to see some more, so hit the subscribe and the bell. You know what to do. If you want to join Miss Paint-A-Lot's art group over on Facebook, that's great. Share your stuff. They're a nice group of people in there, really nice group of people. So there's no problem sharing your stuff. There's nobody, you know, going to say anything even remotely nasty. And the first time anybody does, they're gone. Nobody ever has yet. So take care, stay safe, and I'll see you on my regular Saturday and Sunday lives.